You're watching the Isaiah Factor, Uncensored.
Silly boy. Ow! No, we don't bite, Mama. That hurts. Do you need something to bite?
Yeah.
Okay, come here. If you need something to bite, you gotta ask Mama. Say, Mama, bite.
Bite.
Yeah.
You just saw an example, a very good example of gentle parenting there. For all of you watching at home, what did you do with a child whose name could easily be Damien with 3 6s on his head? Do you sit him down and discuss why he is misbehaving? Or do you exercise a little demon seed with the belt of deliverance? It just depends on you as a parent. Gentle parenting or old school whoop ass? Let's get into it with our guests who are parents.
So, Lauren, when you hear about gentle parenting as a parent, would you put yourself in that category?
Yeah, I would definitely put myself in the category of a gentle parent. I think that it's just parenting, and it's just the way that children and parents should interact. But if you have to put a label on it, I definitely consider myself a gentle parent.
And did you, for what reason or reasons did you arrive at that conclusion as that's the form of parenting I want to do?
Well, for me, I became a mom pretty young. Me and my husband were pretty young when we had our first child. And, you know, just full disclosure, I was a very, very rebellious child. You know, I grew up with older parents. You know, I was in Jack and Jill and all of these different programs. So all of the trappings of, you know, middle class life. But my parents were strict, and I found a lot of ways around, you know, rules, and versus learning how to be an empathetic person and think about consequences, I just became a really good liar and really sneaky. And so I wanted to have a different relationship with my own children, because I realized as an adult how dangerous some of the things that I were doing was. Mm-hmm. And I realized it was because I was, you know, more fearful of getting caught than I was understanding what was actually, you know, what my parents wanted me to be doing. So I just didn't start off that way. It was a journey. It still is a journey. I'm still learning, but it was really important for me as a parent to ensure that my children understood that I was there to guide them and not necessarily, you know, have some type of sense of control over them.
Louis, let's hear from you. How would you describe yourself as a parent? And I know you got 2 sons.
Yes, I'm controlling. I'm controlling to the extent, and again, you know, I look at this in different groups, you know, in age groups. You know, when my boys were young or younger, when they were born, I was a parent pretty young as well. So there was more of an emphasis for me to make sure that my kids were disciplined. Discipline meant a lot to me because I didn't want to be that stereotypical young parent with undisciplined children. But there was never, and I also agree with explaining to a child why something's happening. But that also includes explaining to them why they're going to get their ass whooped. You know, that's a part of that equation. That has to happen. Because right now, what I see in this newer generation is we've got a bunch of soft, entitled, emotionally driven children, you know, who are talking to their parents like their parents are wagging the tail. And I don't think that children that are allowed to do that, really, I don't think that they can escape some of the pitfalls that they're up against as young people. You know,
what about those who say, though, if you use that form of parenting, then it would only create more bad parenting with your kids when they have their children? And not saying that it's bad parenting, but many people say when you discipline your child physically, then that could lead to other psychological issues down the road in their parenting as well.
I think that if you have a child's mind when they're young, I personally, I haven't had to physically discipline my boys probably caught at least 2 or 3 a year. You know what I mean? But they were warned about why they could catch it. You know, I mean, I can remember one of the lessons that Aaron, that my oldest son learned early on was, you know, either you can cut the grass or you can get your ass whooped and cut the grass. That's a choice, you know, because at the end of the day, that grass has to get cut, you know, and that's not by me. That's just the way things are. One of the things that I did agree with on as far as being a soft parent, when it was said that soft parents don't necessarily reward, you know, they don't punish, but they also don't reward. I do agree with that to a degree. I don't believe in rewarding for very menial things. I don't think that graduating from high school should garner this extravagant, you know, brand-driven, you know, event. You you know, when you qualify to work in fast food. You know, I don't agree with that. But as far as discipline, you have to be hard. This is not, this is a dictatorship. I think parenting is a dictatorship. It has to be for the sake of the child.
Lauren, hearing Lewis talk like that, your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts. So first off, I always preface this because I have these discussions with my friends and family members as well, because a lot of us were parented the same way. I always say, if, you know, hitting a child, which I think is 100% inappropriate, because as an adult, you're not going to hit me. Like, that's just not okay. I can't go into work and hit my coworkers when they make mistakes, but also if it worked, you'd never have to do it again. Right? Because a child would remember that.
But that's not true.
I'm sorry, let me finish. Let me finish because I'll let you speak. So let me finish, right? So we're going to do that. Discipline, right? Thanks. So if you did that, you wouldn't have to do it again. That's just first and foremost. I think it's really inappropriate. It also primes children to be abusers or be abused in their own life. I have a daughter. I'm not going to hit her. I don't want her hit by a man when she gets older. I don't want my son going around hitting people. I feel like children have the capacity to understand.
Now, when we come back, our guests will continue to make it clear they don't see eye to eye when it comes to parenting. And later, a new way to motivate young kids to learn and get straight A's in school. What about a new pair of Jordans or even a beautiful prom dress for free? Almost free. You have to work for it. Stay with us. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. This newer generation of parents are ditching the switch for gentle parenting. That technique involves parents dropping the physical discipline. My guests have totally different views on that matter.
Also, children they're people, they're little humans, right? As an adult, literally last week, I was on a flight, 6:30 in the morning, I had 2 hours of sleep. I wasn't on my best behavior. I was tired, I was cranky. And so when I see these things happening with children and parents have such a visceral reaction, it's really confusing to me, because I'm like, when you're not at your best, nobody's hitting you, right, to get you back in order. You realize that you need to calm down and redirect and have a moment for yourself. But we have such rigid and ridiculous expectations of children who are first still trying to learn how to navigate the world as people, still trying to regulate their own emotions. And then a lot of times too, what we don't realize as adults is that a lot of times what children are doing is developmentally appropriate for their age bracket. We place expectations on 3 and 4 year olds for kids that are probably 5, 6, and 7, and so on. And so, like I said, you're entitled and welcome to do whatever you want with your children. But I think for me in my home and what I've seen work best for my kids is they understand what consequences are. There's consequences for every single action. If they run in the house and fall down, why do I need to hit you? You've already fallen down and hurting yourself. You break your toy, now you don't have that toy anymore and it's broken. That's a conversation that we can have. I feel like a lot of times, and I can't talk about other communities, but I can say for Black communities, I understand where that comes from. We parent from a place of fear. I'll never forget that scene in Color Purple where that Miss Millie came and she was looking at Miss Sophia's kids, and I understand, we make sure that our children were disciplined and seen and not heard, because that's the difference between life or death. But that's just not a way that I want to move with my children. Also, too, I know a whole lot of kids who got beat relentlessly that are in TDC in prison right now. It doesn't stop as much as you think. And if anything, it teaches people how to act out of aggression, how to act out of anger, and not be able to regulate their emotions like adults.
Go ahead.
I got whooped all the time. I got whooped all the time as a kid. I fought, cussed, did all kind of stuff, skipped school, did everything. Like I said, I became a really good liar. I was really good at sneaking. I knew exactly what time my parents were going to be home, and I did what I wanted to do to avoid being whooped versus being a good person and being a good citizen and thinking safely and making good decisions for myself.
Lewis, go ahead.
If you believe that a child under the age of 18, and I challenge 18, understands the concept of respect, then we disagree. I didn't understand respect until I was far older. That concept is something that doesn't come to you until you understand the breadth of what's going on. Everything that a person had to go through. That's when you truly respect your parents. So I think fear is healthy. I think fear is very healthy. Now, as far as whether or not corporal punishment on a child will help, and you use the prisons as examples, there is a place for adults. There is a consequence for adults who mess up, who don't ride the law, the letter of the law, and that's prison. For children, there's nothing wrong with a spanking for me and mine in my household. The vast majority of people that I know that I grew up with, and I grew up in an inner city here in Houston, they got whooped, back when they called it that. Most parents that whooped were reasonable parents. It wasn't the first thing that the parents did. Of course, you want to talk to your child and forewarn them and explain to them what's going on. But if they repeatedly mess up, then yeah, that has to be on the table. I just do not believe that to take consequences off the table, physical consequences, is going to help a child. That has to be part of it. Now, whether or not that physical consequence is whooping, whether or not or spanking rather, or whether or not it's physical labor, doing something in the yard, digging a flower bed, something that has to be on the table. And if that's considered, poor punishment, then I guess we'll see. I know my children are doing fine. My boys are doing fine. And I'm sure there's a lot of other examples that kind of follow suit with mine. But
we want to thank you both for joining us. So we have both sides. So our viewers can decide if they're new parents, if they want to go old school or gentle parenting. Thank you both for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored.